Now we should be heard.
Good.
Amazing. So, welcome to Table Talk, 802 Scoop, live from 185 North Main Street in Barrie. Just make sure we get ourselves situated here. I want to make sure that everybody can hear us enough, that we're loud enough, which usually isn't a problem. There we are. We're in the yellow, so we're good to go. Again, bright sunny day, beautiful after a rainy, yucky day, and we are happy to be here. Thank you, Glenn, for letting me know, because I wasn't paying attention and we weren't moving. It was moving. We had sound during the intro, but not during here. So I hadn't plugged in the little box. This is something new for us. Yeah. So we have the wireless mics now, and doing that one last step, I didn't do it. Whoops.
Oh, well.
So,
shit happens.
Shit happens is right. Anyways, thank you for joining us. We have a special guest in the studio who turns out I know his wife. I'm super excited about that. But anyway, a potential, that's what we're saying. We're going to say a potential Burlington mayoral candidate.
Exactly, yeah.
But even if you don't get mayor, you have a lot of plans, and you know there needs to be a lot of change, and you're ready to do that in any way that you need to do it. Totally. So without further ado, we will introduce Aryeh.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having
me.
Good
to have you here, Aryeh.
Down south in the deep south of Barrie.
Yeah.
And you had an exciting trip down here, right?
Yeah.
You got hung up on 89.
89
truck
shut
fire.
Down. Yeah. Went the Richmond route actually, really excited to learn and what other people around the state are saying. And Burlington has gone through a lot recently in the past few years, and we need someone to change it.
Yeah, we do. And they have gone through a lot. It's been, it seems like one catastrophe after another. And I will be the first to tell you, IT's terrible. I say, if you want that kind of garbage, go 30 miles north. I say that all the time because that's how bad it's gotten. And it's sad because we used to go to Burlington. That would be the spot that we would go to go Church Street shopping or restaurants, or that would be like the great getaway because you're just down here in Barrie, and so you go up to the city to do things, and we don't do that anymore because of some of the grossness that has happened over the last few years.
Yeah, I would frame it more as a disappointment. Mm-hmm. People talk about how there's gang violence and shootings, but really Burlington's safe from my perspective, especially someone who's lived in New York City for over 12 years in Manhattan. And but it's just a disappointment. There's a lot of mental health issues going around related to addiction. Mm-hmm. Addiction's a huge issue. And I moved here 11 years ago with my beautiful wife, who did residency at the University of Vermont for dermatology. And it was paradise. Burlington was paradise. Mm-hmm. It's a place where you can leave your kids out, not worry about them. Yeah. A nice collection of old people and young people on Church Street, going to restaurants, and coming from New Jersey and New York City, where everything's so congested, and there's really a lot of crime there. coming to Vermont was such a relief for me 11 years ago.
And are you seeing that now, though? Do you feel as relaxed as you were when you got here 11 years ago?
Yeah, so I still love living in Burlington, and I love living in Vermont, and the community will always have a part of me. But things have drastically changed for families, for business owners, for children, for women, even for the unhoused. It's extremely unsafe for the unhoused and homeless population in Vermont right now. And it's really a perfect example of when people who are really into their feelings more than actual practical solutions are in power, and they're using their ideals and their politics, and they're aligned to those politics till the day that they are no longer politicians. And there's no more reasonableness in politics anymore. It's you're either with one party
agree.
or the other party, and we need someone to kind of say, screw this, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm just a person, I'm a business owner, I'm a father, I'm someone who struggled with a lot of the issues in our community that our community faced, and I have some solutions. And it really starts with being positive, being a positive, inspirational person that is out there with the community and connecting with people.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And when you say Vermont as a whole, you are absolutely right. I mean, we are faced with this all over, and I think all people are faced with the same thing, and we can't be one party or the other anymore. Very much, I agree with that 100%.
Right.
Because
You know, I got grandkids that play sports all over the place, so I've seen what goes on in Brattleboro, what goes on in Rutland, what goes on in Bennington. You know, all over the place. It's the whole state itself is just fallen into this. I call it a pit. And there seems to be no way of climbing out of it. You know.
I think that's where I agree to the first part. I slightly disagree to the second part. I think there is a way to climb out of it. We live in probably one of the most divisive states in the country right now.
I agree.
People will judge you based on what you believe in,
Right.
without actually knowing who you are as a person. They'll judge you who you voted for. Doesn't matter if you're on the right or on the left. It's equal problem, I think. And we need to get out of this idea of, you know, that whoever you voted for, therefore you're a bad person, therefore you're a racist, therefore you're a bigot, therefore, and it's just not true. Because I'm friends with everyone. That's me. I'm friends with the progressives. I'm friends with Republicans. I'm friends with the most far left people. I'm friends with the most far right people. As long as you're a good human being.
Same. I have friends from all walks of life.
That is what we need to. And my whole thesis of this new social media page that I started called Truth in Vermont is let's learn to have conversations even though we disagree. That is the most basic premise of how to solve any issue. If we can't talk, then we can't solve anything.
Right.
And that's what's happening in Burlington right now. It's become so divisive, and I've witnessed it firsthand, unfortunately.
Yeah, you and I had talked about that a little bit. That you've been up against it yourself, the discrimination and other things. You've been up against it yourself, and I can tell you here in the city, me too. I'm involved with politics and local elections, but I think I do pretty well. But to be labeled a MAGA queen and lover of a rapist and this, that, and the other thing has just been absolutely disgusting, because none of that is true, and I take great offense to those things that are being said. And you can feel one way about one person, that's fine if that's how you feel about that person, but to drag it on to everybody it's disgusting, and it's really wrong, and it's just making it worse. It's making it a harder environment to live in all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree with you. I think social media is a big part of that. Social media doesn't let people have conversations.
Right.
There's no nuance anymore. It's a lot of bait, rage, type media, and not a lot of conversations like what we're having here. And it's created this, in my theory, the hard right and the hard left are kind of bouncing back between each other.
Yeah.
And there's no middle ground anymore. The centrists are gone. We really need someone who's moderate to step up and say, who recognizes the divisiveness and the illusion of the Democratic Party, the illusion of the Republican Party, and just say, let's just be human again.
I agree. You don't necessarily have to pick a party to care.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm on the city council here in Barrie, and I was on it 30 years ago. Then I got away from it, and when I did run for city council, I told everybody I'm an independent.
Yep.
I don't pick a party anymore, because in 30 years a lot's changed. And I'll tell you, when Reagan was president, I liked Reagan. I liked a Republican. And now I've been labeled sometimes as a Republican, but I'm not. I'm an independent. But what really bothers me is when my parents were alive. My parents were devout Democrats. They were both, they worked in. My dad worked in the granite industry. He was in the union. My mom worked for Sprague Electric Company. She was in the union. So they were Democrats. Then my dad was involved in the Legion, and he got elected like state commander of the Legion. So he was traveling all over the state.
Oh wow.
And he became very good friends with Republican governors.
Yep.
So I learned from them. You shouldn't be labeled as, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I'm a guy who wants to do things for my community, to make it a safe place, to make it a thriving place.
Yeah.
I'm an independent.
Yeah.
I think that's how it should be. I think we need a real third party in our country, or in Vermont in general, to kind of take away.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be called the Purple Party or some type of
Yeah.
what other party name, but we need just a reasonableness party.
And now we're kind of like, we already have a third party because we have a progressive party that's advancing and building, and
That's
so
true, actually,
we're going to
yeah.
need a fourth
Yeah, I
party.
guess
We're
we need
going
a
to
fourth
need
party,
a
yeah.
fourth party is the purple party, right? Of people that literally, truly just want to be somewhere in the middle and vote for the things that are right and that can move us forward. And because you can be any of those things and disagree with anything amongst the party. You can be a Republican and not like Donald Trump.
Sure.
Or you can be a Republican and not like Phil Scott.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Or you could be a progressive and don't like Bernie Sanders.
Right.
I mean, there's people who say that he's not far enough
Absolutely.
on the
Right.
left.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Or you can be a Republican or a Dem and not like Bernie Sanders either. I mean, it's just the way it goes.
But the progressives have had a real hold on Burlington for the past few years, whether it's the city council. Miro Weinberger was the previous mayor, and he was Democratic, but under his reign, there was a dominant progressive city council
Yeah.
who, I'm not going to use the word defund the police, but went against the police,
Yep.
and then limited the cap, which caused a lot of the police to either leave or not renew their contracts. And we're still suffering till this day as a result of those decisions. And it's, George Floyd changed America, and I understand the people are really upset with the police, and I understand that. But at the same time, just because there's one or a couple of bad apples doesn't mean that they're all bad apples.
Right.
And that's what our city councilors, our politicians in Burlington and in Greater Vermont have created, and they've created this hatred towards the people that we need to actually protect us.
Right.
It's really it's unfortunate, and I think we need just someone who understands the addiction aspect, understands the homelessness, understand that people are upset with the police, but at the same time understand that they're our lifeline, essentially.
And Burlington definitely got away from that. They definitely got away from using some resources that they maybe shouldn't have gotten away from, for sure. But how do you get back there?
Yeah, sure. So right now, I think we have 51 active police on every. These are, don't quote me on this. These are based on what people told me. We have maybe during a given time 6 clothed officers on the streets. And it comes down to two things: the mayor and our DA. Mayor Emma recently, I believe, when she had the option to have her say in whether to increase the cap, although she didn't have a vote in it, she had her say and said it was premature. While our businesses shut down, rampant fentanyl, rampant heroin, rampant xylazine, rampant meth, total chaotic scenes on Church Street and the surrounding areas. If you go into the old North End, forget about it. That is really a scary place right now. And kept on just really people blaming. She's blaming the previous Miro. She's blaming the federal government. I mean, people in Burlington are blaming the federal government for what's happened to Burlington. People don't realize or remember that Donald Trump has only been in power for a year.
Right.
And our demise really started 20, 21, 22. So really, the federal government didn't have anything to do with what occurred. It was more of, let's come to an open season for drug use, for support services for drug use. We handed out 500,000 needles through the Howard Center. The Howard Center, I believe, is also handing out crack pipes with those needles, which is federally illegal, by the way. I think they had to shut down that program. TJ Maxx, I just confirmed with some law enforcement people and some politicians, TJ Maxx had the most theft out of any TJ Maxx in the entire country. Someone told me Old Navy also had the most theft out of any Old Navy in the country. My friends have women friends who've been sexually assaulted multiple times, spit on. People are coming and touching them on Church Street. Last week, there was an individual sitting in front of the mayor's office for hours, urinating himself, hours and hours and hours. This poor dude. I went there, I saw him, and this is right at the entrance of Mayor Emma's office. And I called the Howard Center. Howard Center went there. I went home, I came back, and the guy was still sitting there in his puddle of urine. Puddle of urine right in front of, I passed out. And then I called the fire department. The fire department came, just left, and left him there. I'm not sure what we've done to our society or what rules and regulations, or even just being a basic, decent human being, because I was the only person who helped that guy. Every person came in and out of the mayor's office that day and saw this individual there and
walked
by.
Yeah.
So it's not just the politicians, it's a societal problem.
It's
because
everybody.
It's everywhere, really.
you know, if I grew up in a society, my dad's a doctor and it's a pediatrician, and part of his practice is not making money, and he's a community doctor for free for anyone who wants to come to our house. After he comes home from work, people are in our house getting strep tests, flu shots on the weekends.
Man, I wish we could have that back.
We need to be charitable. Like, it's not a left or a right thing. We need to, if we see someone suffering on the street, and you see the same guy holding a sign for a year, give me money, and you walk past him and you don't say a word to him, I believe you were part of the problem. I believe
You don't have to give him anything except for maybe words of encouragement, support. Give them a business card or a sheet of meetings or places to go or whatever. You don't have to give money. And a lot of people, just not everybody begging they're begging for money. They're not necessarily begging for money. They
just want love. They just want love, and they want recognition. A lot of these people, they want to be treated.
A lot of them.
Not all of them.
And that's the thing. We absolutely realize that not all people are doing it for those purposes, and there are people that are doing it that maybe shouldn't be doing it. But like everything else in life, that's what makes it hard for everyone, right? If you have a couple of bad eggs, then it ruins it for everybody. Same with the police force or anything in life. That's the way it is, unfortunately. Then you get the shadow over you, and then you're trying to dig out from from all of that, no matter who you are or what you are. But the crack pipes, the free crack pipes, I am a mom to an addict. And I am, I understand the methadone, the Suboxone. I understand that, people need assistance. Not all people, but some people
Sure.
need assistance to get into recovery, stay in recovery.
Yeah.
But I cannot fathom the need to hand somebody a needle, and I especially cannot fathom handing somebody a free crack pipe and calling that prevention. A free crack pipe that you can walk out of there and put your dirty crack in is not prevention. The needles, maybe, because you're trying to help spread, stop the spread of disease and things, but they're getting left all over. You don't get them and leave them there. You're leaving with needles to leave all over the ground. So it doesn't seem like there's much checks and balances. And the harm so when does it come harm reduction? When everybody around you is at risk of harm because the dirty needles are everywhere.
Completely couldn't agree, and this is probably my first time opening up about this, but I definitely had issues with substance abuse while I was in law school before I moved to Vermont. A lot of the same drugs that people are having issues with here. I've lost a lot of friends. I know a lot of people still who are suffering, and I feel like I have a say in this. And I listen, the free needles, that's not the issue. The issue is the accountability. Mm-hmm. The issue is that the Howard Center handed out 500,000 needles. I think it's the Howard Center.
Yes,
without actually creating a program where if you give out a needle, you must return the needle to get a new one. Mm-hmm. If you give out a needle, you must come here once a week and talk to me about your issues. Mm-hmm. If you give out these things, there has to be accountability.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no accountability. There's no system to help treat these people. No Republican would ever say this, but the amount of medical loss that we have to addiction and theft and violence, there could be a very big claim into getting these people a legal drug, whether it's being legal heroin or legal substance, getting them in the hospital, saying you have to commit to getting better. And I think that would theoretically eliminate tons and tons of cost to our society. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're ready there. I don't think we're ready yet for that.
And they have done it in other countries.
Right. Portugal.
And it has worked.
It's worked. I think I haven't done a lot of research into it, but as a former addict who's no longer doing these substances, it's not. And I don't believe in incarceration. I'm not a full incarceration guy. I think it's a two-pronged approach. Mm-hmm. We need tough love and we need mental health. Mm-hmm. Without one of those, society is going to fall. Mm-hmm. And I'm a very principled guy, and I learn a lot, and I try to study. And part of who I am as a person is balancing between justice and compassion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and prison's not the answer, especially if prison means you come right back out to the same scenario and that you've learned nothing when you were in there as far as skill or gotten assistance for your addiction and learned how to manage, maybe anger management, maybe you grew up that way, maybe you have mental health issues. There needs to be some form of program, mental health help. It's a huge umbrella. It's not as easy as put them in jail for 6 months, they'll be clean, and once they're clean, they're fine. Or even 3 years. That's not so. It's still there mentally, and we certainly have plenty of drugs in the facilities. And now a big push in the facilities is as soon as you walk in the door,
Suboxone.
Mm-hmm. And here's your Suboxone, even if maybe you're an alcoholic, maybe
nothing. They are getting 75% of the population is on.
And it's costing a huge amount of money. And it's a waste of that money because that's what they're doing. They're investing all their money into a quick fix of, we don't want to deal with it, so here we'll say we're providing this huge service by providing Suboxone, and you're not providing shit because they're going to go back out and still rely on something they may not be able to get.
You know, another thing I found out with Raylene, and I didn't really know this. So her son gets arrested. He gets sent to St. Johnsbury. She feels relieved because she knows he's locked up
He's
now.
safe. He's safe.
He's safe. But no, his dealer calls her and says, I'm going up and I'm bailing Craig out.
Oh my gosh.
How in God's name can they let somebody do that? It should only be a family member that can bail out that person. But your dealer, the dealer can go up, bail them out,
So he
that
can
they
get
can
more money,
they can
so he can
they
get
can
more
make
money.
more money
Keep
off
going.
it.
Make more
Exactly.
money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening down here, but we have a woman named Sarah George, who's our GA up in Chittenden County, and she has a policy of not holding anyone. We have an incident last week of a woman who attacked a child.
Yeah.
Did you read that story?
I did.
Attacked
I
a
did.
child. Did a bunch of other things. Sarah let her out of prison,
Yeah.
and then she allegedly assaulted someone.
Yep.
Sarah is, I met Sarah. I think she's a kind person. I looked into her eyes. I think she means well. I think a lot of these people mean well. But she was a public defender. She was from the other side. You don't really go from public defender to prosecutor without really having an agenda, that I think. And I talk to so many of these homeless people now around town. And my friend's business was robbed, and he's shutting down on Church Street called Nostalgia, which actually prompted me to create this whole social media campaign, which now has over 1 million views. And it's really just so disheartening. It's really, really disheartening. And the homeless people feel that Sarah is not doing enough to enforce the law. The people on the streets who are doing heroin are saying that she's not doing enough to enforce the law. And just follow the law. She'll make the excuse that in other states, in New Jersey, New York, they took away bail, and that's true. But in those states, they have other tools for the prosecutors to enforce the law. And the amount of economic devastation, human devastation. I mean, just look at the guy who had hypothermia and died. You heard about the guy? Passed away. His name's Perry, a nice guy. But Perry had an addiction issue, from my understanding, and Perry was robbing places.
Actually, I met him.
Okay, oh, really? And he robbed places. And people are blaming for the Democrats and politicians for not providing shelter. Why not blame Sarah George?
Yeah.
If Sarah George locked this guy up, he'd be alive because he'd be in prison in a safe, warm place.
Yep.
It's not the people who didn't provide the shelter.
And it's not costing any more. It's, they say we can't afford to keep putting these people in jail. It's the amount of money that it's costing people, and the amount of just
So I did a study.
life
On some numbers.
safety and all of these things, quality of life, is when does that get factored into it all?
So I did a study. I like data. I'm trying to get more into the data of what's happening in town here. And an average individual experiencing homelessness can cost a state between $35,000 and $75,000 a year. That is excluding the cost that individual, and it's not everyone. I don't want to kind of make a blanket statement.
Yep.
But of certain individuals who are creating crime, theft, shoplifting, that does not counter that
Any
in
of
at
that.
all. And then I did a further study to try to understand how much money the University of Vermont is spending on an annual basis, because I don't think those numbers are disclosed. Somewhere between 35, and this is all estimations based on how chronic our conditions are in Vermont. I think they're pretty chronic compared to the national average. 35 to over $100 million a year of care that we're having to supply these people over and over and over and over again because our DA will not lock these people up. That's my perspective, though. I don't know. I don't know if that's everyone's perspective, but
No, I mean, it's mine, certainly. And truthfully, if in a perfect world, I think we should have mandated treatment. I think that fine, you're not going to get locked in prison, but you're going to get locked in this treatment facility for 1 year, and you're going to do this, or 2 years, whatever it takes, and you're going to do it, and we're not moving until you do it.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more with that.
And it wouldn't cost any more money. If anything, it would probably cost less. Would it cost a lot up front to get everything moving
program
and
started,
going?
sure.
Absolutely. But in the end, what you get out of it far exceeds anything you're going to put into it, especially if you're creating productive members of society.
Totally. And that $35,000 to $85,000, I think that's pre-tax. So, your average, I'm not sure the whole tax formula, but the impact is astronomical in terms of, look at, it destroyed Burlington. It destroyed an entire economy of Church Street. 35% of businesses on Church Street are vacant. 35% of lots on Church Street are vacant. Someone told me recently. So we have to weigh, right? Like what's the cost of getting these people treatment versus just letting them have freedom and free reign and going into the bathroom all day long next to the mayor's office, all day long, and injecting drugs.
And those that are just hanging out in City Hall Park,
she could look out her window and see people, and they come out looking normal, and they, come in looking normal, and they come out looking slumped, and it's really sad. It's really sad. These aren't clean drugs. They're not. It's not like it used to be 20 years ago where it was pure heroin or pure cocaine. The people are walking around with sores, open sores all over Burlington, screaming, and people think that it's like a mental health. There's like, these people are crazy, but most of it, or a lot of it, is caused by drugs. Yeah. It's caused by, there's a couple of women in town who are full, I'm not gonna mention their names, but from my understanding, they're actively using crack cocaine and then going on these screaming tirades. How is that allowed? Like, someone said that we're a communist, we're communist, socialist. Russia would never let this happen.
No.
Russia would never, in their right mind, would
Mm-hmm.
never allow their society to come to this.
And act this way. Yeah.
I spoke to, oh yeah, go for it.
I just, in a perfect world in Burlington, how would you see yourself moving that initiative forward a little bit? Like, what do you think that we could do?
So the main thing is excluding the mayor aspect or including the mayor aspect. If I were mayor, how would I?
If you were, how do you think?
Yeah. So the main thing is we need to figure out how to bring people downtown, back downtown, and that's involves creating an assurance system and letting people know that it's actually safe to come downtown. Officers have the ability to trespass every single one of these people from the downtown area, Church Street, especially if they're disorderly conduct. They're going up and down Church Street. It's one thing to have a sign and sit on the corner. It's another thing to go and actively harass every single person on Church Street saying, I need $1. Disorderly conduct, trespass from certain places. We have to create a certain area for a designated space for these people because they need a lot of help and they need a lot of resources. So create a place away from downtown where we can give them open space. There'll be some rules and regulations. But right now, I believe the Burlington Police Department is telling people to go camp on the lake. The most beautiful bike path in America, in my opinion. And right now, when you go on that bike path, I took my wife there, and she's not political. She doesn't like.
Right.
She likes to help the world and save lives.
Totally, I can see that from her.
And she walked to the bike path, and she's like, "Oh my God, they gave this away. They gave this away." And so, supporting our police, connecting with UVM parents, connecting with UVM students, changing their perception of what needs to be done in order for them to come back downtown, giving huge tax breaks to business owners, huge tax breaks to anyone that has been harmed by the situation. I have a small business called Timely Tire. I started one of the first mobile tire shops in northern Vermont, and it was robbed so many times My Salter and plow were stolen last season before this historic snowfall, so I couldn't plow. We've been harmed, and we need severe encouragement to come back and music. Burlington is the music capital. We have Fish, we have Grace Potter, we have so many, and that's why a lot of people came to Burlington, is because there are these hippies, and I'm a hippie, I'm a huge Fish guy.
Right.
Got my Fish hat, my Fish nostalgia bottle.
Yeah.
And the story of Burlington is really like Trey Anastasio, I think, in my opinion.
So was it like last year or the year before? My older son and I were going to watch my younger son coaches AAU basketball. So we were going to a game up near Burlington, and we went by Battery Park, and the stage was covered with people sleeping on blankets and sleeping bags. And
the music scene has really, Nectar shut down. That was
Yeah.
the birthplace of
Yeah.
Fish.
I mean, wow.
And so I gave a speech in City Hall that kind of went viral, comparing Burlington to Jerry Garcia and Trey Anastasio. They're both pretty open about what happened, addiction, and Jerry Garcia, loved guy, did so much good for the world, but died in his addiction and was never really, he went to rehab and actually died while he was trying to get help. But Trey Anastasio was this guy, did such good, and then fell into this addiction. And it wasn't until his, messed up and on the New York State Thruway, and his band members felt that it wasn't acceptable anymore, and he got help, and he turned his life around, and he became, in my opinion, one of the best human beings out there. And we just need to turn ourselves around.
Yeah. Just a matter of how to do that.
Inspiration, love, encouragement, positivity.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go and literally pick these people up.
when I was in high school, we were in Burlington just about every weekend. We'd drive to Burlington and hang out.
Yeah, exactly. It used to be.
After everything was happening.
And even as families, like I said, families to go up to the Sandbar for the day or to go up on Church Street. Loved to go up to Church Street during the holiday season, and it was all decorated in the big tree, and it was a big deal to go up there, and the storefronts, and that's where you went to go shopping. And
I still think there's this perception here in Vermont that it's unsafe to go to Burlington because when I was talking about this initially, how it's more of a disappointment. These people on the street, I've spent a lot of time in New York City, walking around New York City. I feel safer in Burlington than I do in New York City. But it's whether you want to actually see that, whether you want to explain to your kid who's 5 years old, who's 8 years old, that this person is really sick.
And if you're a lifelong Vermonter, you're definitely not used to that.
You're not used to. That's totally foreign.
Right, it's
totally foreign for you.
And so for us, it's for people that have lived here always. I hear people say that all the time. Well, at least you're not here, or at least you're not there. Or I grew up here, or I grew up there. The problem is that when you talk about that with people, that it's almost like a defensiveness of, but that's not who we are, and that's not why you moved here. You moved here to get away from that.
Sure.
And we don't want that to become what this space is, and that's how we all feel. I mean, for us, it's probably as bad as New York City. I mean,
but
that's
not
the way
an
we
excuse.
look at it.
That's not an excuse.
No, but it's the way we look at it. Like,
not an excuse for you. It's not an excuse for the politicians who, and everyone keeps on saying a very common theme in Vermont is, well, all the cities are having issues. It's not just Burlington. Well, all the cities. Burlington is a small city compared to the United States.
Oh yeah,
average. We
by
only have
far.
a couple hundred people who are causing issues. Mayor Emma recently said in her social media post, her goal for the year is to, I'm paraphrasing it, to take joy in this impossible job. Mayor Emma, your job is not impossible. Maybe it's impossible because you convince yourself in your head that it's impossible. And your job should be joyful. Burlington is still one of the most beautiful places in the country. The culture, the people, the artistry. There is immense human suffering. But being alive, the fact that we're here, breathing, we should have joy in that. in my opinion. You know.
Right, and try to move it forward.
Yeah.
Or keep it,
Yeah.
bring things back, dial
And she
things
is
back
trying.
and help.
She is trying. You know, she is trying her hardest. I think she has a good heart. She really, really messed up when it came to addressing a horrible anti-Semitic incident involving a security guard who worked at City Hall and sent me messages. You mind just
No,
gonna
you
on my
go
phone,
ahead.
And I don't want to misquote anything, but
No, absolutely.
give everyone a little bit of a backstory. So I own Timely Tire. I also started a really amazing healthcare business in the state of Vermont that will reduce healthcare costs for people dealing with MS, Alzheimer's, any infusion-based therapy. I opened up at a really cool business. And a lot of horrible things, discrimination, assaults happened to me in town. And I tried to speak to the mayor about this stuff. And I went to her office 2 or 3 times, filled out paperwork, and she ignored me. So on the 3rd or 4th time, I got like a little chutzpah, like my New York. And I said in a very kind of respectful way, like, this is not okay. You're not helping me. I'm going to go get help from someone else. And about a month passed, and between that time frame, I met a security guard outside of City Hall who wore a keffiyeh almost every day while he was coming to City Hall. The keffiyeh is a Palestinian garb. And I don't want to misquote it exactly what he said, but I'm kind of paraphrasing it. Sent me messages in response to a social media post that I made to Peter Welsh, saying to be balanced about Israel and Palestine. And he sent me messages which included, why am I trying to talk to city personnel about their ability to shout down protesting genocide when I could be killing brown kids myself? Isn't that my God-given birthright? Pick up a rifle, go see your family. Really, really, and I support the Palestinians. I support a 2-state solution. I support treating everyone as humans. And I think he kind of didn't understand that. And I went to the mayor's office multiple times about this, and she did nothing to contact the security company who managed this guy. And still till this day, after filling out forms, speeches, hours of my life wasted speaking to city councilors, Chocolate Thunder Security still does not know what this individual did to me. All the city did was said, after me finally going there and making all these speeches, they finally did an investigation, and the city attorney called me up and basically apologized, said, we screwed up. We didn't contact Chocolate Thunder. We didn't tell you where to contact Chocolate Thunder. I'm sorry what you're going through. And here I am today. The situation is not resolved. And all I wanted, really, was this individual to understand what he did and to apologize, and for the mayor to set up a one-on-one conversation. And that's all I really wanted. And I asked the mayor to apologize multiple times. She refused to. And that's why kind of that's kind of got me involved in this, and realizing that it's not just me. There's a lot of people out there who have been discriminated against by this mayor and in town, and our politicians will only address a certain particular type of discrimination.
Right.
When it harms their supporters or their followers. There's a lot of LGBTQ people in town who are suffering, who have been harmed because of their identity, and she stands with those people, but she won't stand with me, and I'm still not sure why.
Or anybody else, really.
Or really anyone else. Anyone she disagrees with politically, she will not give them the time of day.
And being a mayor especially should be bipartisan. You're there for all the people, not...
I interviewed, I have on my social media page, Truth in Vermont, I have trans friends who, homeless people, black people, who all say that the mayor is not talking to them. And that is the responsibility. You are the people's person, right? So, what are you doing? What are you doing?
We are just being alerted that there is a fire at the Tilden House, but it is under control, and
I
the
wondered. I
sprinkler,
knew there was a fire truck that went by.
the sprinkler system has gone off and is operational. But so that is what's going on. So maybe you could
Is it an active fire?
Yes. So you could avoid South Main Street if you can, just to give them the space and what they need for time to get that
It's one of our
dealt with.
high-rise housing units. Up
Really?
here
Oh
on
my gosh.
South Main.
So, so you said we're saying, and you're saying potential mayoral candidate.
Yep.
So what would drive you one way or another?
People want me to.
That's all you need.
You know, that's it. I just need the peoples to say that go in that direction. I'll be honest, there's a guy named Ben Travers who's the head of city council. I respect Ben a lot, what he's done, even though he hasn't been so aggressive to counter the progressive ideology. If it was up to me and I was in his position, I'd pitch a tent outside of City Hall and camp there until they arrested me.
Yeah.
So people understood what is actually happening here. But, you know, I think it's just the people, my family, obviously, that's the most important thing. You know, my wife,
Yes, very well.
who's a dermatologist here. My wife started the first dermatology clinic through UVM.
Yeah.
She was down over here initially,
Yes.
and then she moved to CVMC.
To CVMC.
So that's a real consideration because
And she's amazing, Dr. Fisher. Everybody should go see her.
everyone should go see Dr. Fisher.
She's like literally she's my favorite. I told you before, I had dermatologists throughout many years, at least 20, and I have never liked anyone as much as I like her. And when I call, they'll say, well, you know, she's in Burlington today, or you know, you can see her. You could see this person though. Nope, I will wait.
So funny.
I don't
And we
care.
just found that out this morning. It's not like
we
you invited
just found
me.
that out. Nope, we just found it out. We were talking and we found that out. And Kathy Chartier, she's chiming in saying, love her. Kathy is an RN at CVMC. And so she's been in the field for a lot of years, and she too loves Dr. Fisher. I think many of us do. So, and I always cross my fingers that she doesn't go anywhere, because all the ones that you really like, they go. And so
We need a big part of the problems in Burlington and Vermont is healthcare. We have public safety and healthcare. I think are the two main issues. And if you're a candidate right now and you're not focusing on those issues, I don't know what if you're focusing on ICE, federal government,
Yeah.
look in Vermont. UVM, I think, lost potentially $200 million this year. I don't know the exact figures, but they're losing tons and tons of money. We have this system called the Green Mountain Care Board, which regulates how much UVM can charge, how much revenue they can bring in. And whoever came up with the idea that UVM should buy all the practices, independent practices, while being under the guise of an institution that regulates how much money you can bring in, I have no words. And
yeah, me either.
my wife's a dermatologist here in Vermont, and it's almost impossible to get in, to go see her or any specialist of that matter. And we have an aging population here. And as the mayor, I don't see her, maybe I don't know, but I don't know if she has any plans to how to help the hospital system, which is in her city. And I have plans to help the hospital system. I have a plan to create the biggest HR campaign to encourage physicians to move to the most beautiful place in the country, where you can ski every weekend with your kids, you can go on your lake, there's no pollution. We need a plan to bring doctors back in Vermont.
Absolutely. Doctors, dentists, nurses, like all of it. I mean, we are severely lacking. And that would be an understatement. It takes months, as you said, months to get in with a specialist. I know I myself needed to see a specialist. It took just over a year. It was 13 and a half months before and it was a referral, 13 and a half months before I had my first appointment.
I did a study. I did some data.
How does that happen?
People are, I'm going to say this openly, people are certainly losing their lives prematurely as a result of not being able to access healthcare here, statistically speaking, based on some analyses that I've done. But I'm trying to get an MRI right now. It's a 4-month wait for an MRI. The average wait, I think, in the United States is about 3 weeks. So we're much closer to a Canadian healthcare system here, which is already a socialized single-payer system, which is, in my opinion, is not adequate to address what the healthcare that people really need. So we really need to figure out the healthcare solution here in Vermont.
Absolutely. Well, I don't even know what else. Like I could probably literally sit here and talk to you all day, and you can come back once a week if you want to and join us, and we can talk it all out. I would absolutely love that. I mean, if you're gonna run, you won't announce until closer to January anyway. Probably you definitely have time, because what do they elect in Burlington in March?
March is the
So
election.
we're on a little bit different time frame here. Like
We used to be March and now we're May.
Yeah, next Tuesday we'll actually elect our mayor here in the city, and then our state stuff will happen in November. But so a little bit different. But there's certainly time. You if you decide that you're going to run, I would love to have you come back. If you decide not to run and you're just are going to be, really trying to push your initiative and help and advance your Instagram and your, using whatever word power you possibly can. I would love to have you back then too.
I would love to continue this relationship. And I think it's amazing what you're doing. Really, the main thesis of everything is let's just have conversations. Don't be afraid to talk and express your views. People in Burlington and Vermont are afraid to talk about what other people might think of them. And so by doing this, even though I might not win mayor or whatever, or it's about just starting the conversation.
And you and I may not agree on every single thing.
It's okay.
But that's okay.
It's okay.
And I always tell people, my microphones are open to everyone. And I have interviewed a couple of people that I absolutely did not agree with everything. But there were parts of what they were doing that I loved, or maybe they were doing something in the community, the art thing, where they they did the paintings of the different people during the flood, and they put it together with poetry and whatever. And maybe I don't agree with that person that did a lot of work on that project, but they deserve the recognition for that project. They did a really good job. It was awesome to see. They're writing a book with it. I would promote that all day, every day. The person that manages the People's Health and Wellness, do he and I see eye to eye? Not even close. But everything that they do up there is absolutely amazing. It should be promoted and put out there.
The homeless go in.
Absolutely. And if he wanted to come and sit here on this couch and have a conversation, I would let them do it all day, every day. The problem is that I can't bridge that gap because of the divisiveness you spoke of. Because I think one way, that means that I'm viewed as somebody that has the inability to have a conversation. And that is so far from the truth. Because we can all learn something from somebody.
Exactly. Even from the people who disagree, we can always learn something.
Yeah, even if I take away this one thing that just sticks in my head and I think about it from now on, that's worth the hour that you took to sit there.
100%.
And vice versa. I don't know. But I appreciate you coming in.
I think you know.
I appreciate you coming in. I enjoyed the conversation. I wish you luck no matter what you do.
Thank you. Thank you.
And again, I would just absolutely love to have you back. Tell us your full name, though. You say it.
Yeah, sure. Aryeh Moskowit.
Perfect.
Aryeh Moskowit.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Nice to meet you.
And we will see you all next week. We'll see you on Tuesday. And in the meantime, enjoy some basketball games. Taking a game.
Baseball. Basketball. We finished
baseball.
Baseball.
Wrong sport. Baseball.
Chasing grandkids all over the place.
That's right.
The best.
So,
It's fun.
tune in. Hit the fields. Enjoy the weather. Do it. Find something
Be
good
happy.
to do.
Be joyful.
Just be happy.